Every single day in Ukraine, Russian forces are paying a staggering human price. According to a leaked document from the Russian Ministry of Defense, in just the first 8 months of 2025, Russia has suffered 281,550 casualties, including killed, wounded, missing, or captured personnel. That averages to 1,158 casualties every single day, including 357 killed, 140 missing, and 652 wounded, with 2,311 captured. For perspective, a standard Russian battalion consists of roughly 500 to 600 soldiers. The MOD numbers suggest that every single day, Russia is losing the equivalent of an entire battalion across multiple fronts. It almost sounds impossible, too staggering to be true, but the numbers are supported by what's happening on the ground, and even Russian military bloggers are admitting it. Veteran blogger Yuri Evich recently said, "When you send 2 or 3 men armed only with rifles into a strongpoint defended by dozens of enemy fighters, artillery, mortars, and drones above, you're sending them to certain death." This isn't reckless speculation. It's the grim reality of Russia's operational model. Commanders receive orders, send troops forward, fail to achieve objectives, suffer catastrophic losses, and then request replacements. Day after day, men are thrown into the same deadly cycle, often with little regard for their survival. Watching the battlefield footage, it's easy to see why these numbers are so high. Ukrainian units release multiple videos daily from across the front lines, particularly around hotspots like Pokrovsk, where Russian offensive operations have been concentrated for over a year. The videos consistently show small groups of 1, 2, sometimes 4 soldiers moving across open terrain, attempting to find cover, and being neutralized by Ukrainian drones or defensive fire. These soldiers are not protected by armored vehicles or organized formations. They are isolated, exposed, and often killed alone. Multiply that across dozens of small-scale assaults daily, and the casualty figures start to make sense. The MOD document gives even more chilling detail. Out of the 281,550 casualties, 86,744 have been killed, 33,966 missing, 158,529 wounded, and 2,311 captured. For every soldier killed, only 1.3 survive wounded, indicating a low survival rate for the injured. Many wounded are left without immediate medical attention due to insufficient evacuation systems and poorly trained medics. Watching the footage, Russian forces rarely retrieve soldiers from exposed positions. Many are left to die in abandoned towns or open fields. Exceptions exist in elite units, which have proper medevac systems, but these are few, and the bulk of Russian soldiers face catastrophic risks. Breaking it down further by unit, the center group of the Russian army, including the 2nd and 51st Combined Arms Armies, has suffered the heaviest losses. The 2nd Combined Arms Army lost 15,000 killed and 16,000 wounded over 8 months. The 51st Combined Arms Army suffered 13,000 killed and 14,000 wounded. Even the 1st Tank Army in the West Group saw around 10,000 killed and 11,000 wounded. These numbers aren't the result of massive set-piece battles. Instead, they reflect hundreds of small assaults and skirmishes every day, where small teams of soldiers face concentrated firepower from drones, artillery, and defensive positions. Meanwhile, Ukraine is preparing for a new strategic shift. Reports indicate that the country may soon receive Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States, capable of striking nearly 2,000 Russian targets with precision. Ukraine already conducts long-range drone strikes, but these drones carry limited payloads and are insufficient to destroy hardened or specialized military infrastructure. Tomahawks, in contrast, can strike strategic targets deep inside Russian territory, including Shahed drone factories, key airbases like Engels II, and other critical military installations. This could disrupt Russia's operational and strategic capabilities far beyond the front lines.
A decision on whether to supply Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine or sell them to NATO and let them sell them to Ukraine.
Yeah, I've sort of made a decision, pretty much, if you consider. Yeah, I think I want to find out what they're doing with them.
Yes.
You know, where are they sending them, I guess. I'd have to ask that question. That war should never have started, would have never started, such bad judgment was used there. I think on both sides, by the way. But nobody looks good with the war with Russia and Ukraine. Nobody. It's been a horrible. This week they lost over 7,000 soldiers between the two of them. This is every week they're losing 7,000, 8,000, 5,000.
They have a range of like 1,500 miles or something, so they'd be able to.
No, I know. No, I would ask some questions. I want to see what's. I'm not.
Moscow has already reacted. President Vladimir Putin warned that supplying Ukraine with long-range missile systems could destroy any positive trends in U.S.-Russian relations. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov called it a serious escalation, noting the missiles could be nuclear-capable. Russian officials, including senators, have suggested that any delivery of Tomahawks could provoke a severe response, not just against Ukraine, but potentially beyond. Historically, however, Russia's so-called red lines have repeatedly been crossed without the catastrophic consequences they threatened, from HIMARS strikes to discussions of F-16 deployment, and now, possibly, to Tomahawks. Russian military bloggers have also highlighted the operational chaos causing these staggering losses. One blogger explained, "Our forces are constantly attacking without a pause, often without proper intelligence or support. Men are sent in small numbers into heavily defended positions. It's no surprise we're losing so many." These accounts align with battlefield footage, showing isolated soldiers moving across exposed terrain, repeatedly ambushed or targeted by drones. The scale is terrifying when multiplied across the hundreds of small engagements occurring every day. On top of that, Russia has been circulating claims of false flag operations. Over the past 2 weeks, Moscow has alleged 3 separate Ukrainian plots: using downed Russian drones to attack Poland, Ukrainian-trained saboteurs striking in NATO countries, and attacks on Ukrainian ships in European ports intended to blame Russia. While these claims are questionable, they reveal Moscow's anxiety about the increasing Ukrainian capacity to strike deep into Russian territory, and the potential for new weapon systems to alter the balance. Historically, Ukraine's strikes, including deep incursions into Russia, have been real and not staged provocations. Russian authorities are not just sending soldiers to fight, they're forcing them. Vulnerable migrants from former Soviet republics are coerced into signing contracts, threatened, and pushed into a war they never chose. These aren't volunteers. These are men and women caught in a system that treats them as expendable pawns, sent to the front lines under the shadow of violence and fear. Once in uniform, survival is far from guaranteed. Brutality is rampant. Reports show Russian forces subject Ukrainian prisoners of war to beatings, mock executions, and electric shocks. Acts so deliberate and systematic that they can only be described as torture. Death, injury, and trauma are not exceptions. They are the rule. Every prisoner, every conscript, becomes a living testament to the cruelty that saturates this conflict. The human toll doesn't stop at Russian citizens. Foreign nationals, especially from Central Asia, are lured with promises of debt relief or trapped through threats, then pressed into service. Once enlisted, they find themselves caught in the machinery of war, their desperation weaponized, their agency stripped away. These are lives diverted, manipulated, and sacrificed in a conflict far from their homes. The cost of this war is not measured solely by statistics on the battlefield. It is etched into broken bodies, shattered psyches, and lives ripped apart before they even had a chance to begin. Here, the line between soldier and victim dissolves. Every conscript, every prisoner, every forced fighter carries the weight of a system that values territory and orders above humanity. And as the fighting continues, the echoes of their suffering reverberate far beyond the front lines, a silent testament to the price of a war driven by power, fear, and brutality. See you on the next one. Peace.